What's going on, guys? Supersavage789 here, bringing you guys a video, and today we're doing What If Lance Sponsored Ash Part 2. As always, the like goal for this video is 500 likes. If we can hit that, that guarantees a Part 3. So without further ado, let's get into today's video. After Misty regains consciousness, the duo would continue moving. Misty wouldn't want to even touch the Pokeball of her new capture, too afraid of the icky bug within. So Ash just puts the ball on a string for her to drag around. Baby steps is better than nothing at all. As they are walking though, a kid with a sword leaps out, almost taking Ash's head off in the process. He reveals that he's been testing kids coming out of pallet. Ash is the last one here, so he must be rather disorganized. Curious, Ash asks if anyone named Gary came through, with the kid confirming his suspicion. In fact, he was surprised to see how fast he took down his bugs. Hearing this motivates Ash to battle the kid, so he agrees to his challenge. The kid sends out Pinsir, which Ash responds to using Pidgeotto. Pidgeotto wouldn't be at 100%, but would be rather motivated to win, especially after a quick pep talk from its owner. While in canon the same battle took place, the outcome would be slightly different. Thanks to Ash being a more competent trainer here, combined with his knowledge of type effectiveness, it allows for a double knockout on both sides. After they both recall their mons, it doesn't take long for Ash to claim the win, as his Dratini is more than enough to defeat the Metapod. The samurai would applaud Ash's strength as he admits his looks were rather misleading. Before the kid leaves though, Ash would get an idea. He asks if he wants to battle an up-and-coming bug-type trainer to teach her the ropes. Naturally, he'd accept, intrigued by this proposition. Misty, on the other hand, would be freaking out over this, for obvious reasons. With a devilish grin over his face, Ash remarks it's either him or wild bugs. So after weighing her options, Misty decides to reluctantly agree. She summons the courage to press the Pokeball and lets Caterpie out of its ball, causing her to begin to have a meltdown. Thankfully, she doesn't faint though. Ash helps Misty explain to Caterpie what's happening, which it obviously decides to follow. When it learns that it's fighting the big bad Pinsir though, it begins trying to flee in terror. And with Misty's lack of communication skills, the duo make a pretty bad team. It doesn't take long for Pinsir to catch it and throw it in the air, ready to cut it in half with one slice. It squirms in the air, panicking as it falls to impending doom. Showing a sign of sympathy and courage, Misty shouts that she believes in it, which gives it a new sense of resolve. Its body glows and a cocoon hardens as it becomes Metapod, giving it a hard enough body to withstand the crushing. From here this episode kinda plays out the same, only with Misty taking the role of Ash. Metapod gets stolen by Beedrill, only for Misty to go save it. She saves Metapod and begins trying to flee, realizing how bad of a trainer she's been to it ever since they met. She promises she'll be better starting from now, leading to Metapod saving her from a Beedrill. As she thinks it's badly wounded, it evolves yet again into a beautiful Butterfree. Seeing how pretty the Butterfree is after nurturing it from a Caterpie really changes Misty's worldview, so she'd overcome her bug fear once and for all. As they leave Viridian Forest, Misty would thank Ash for helping her, which makes Ash smile. They would arrive in the town of Pewter, encountering a man selling rocks at the entrance, which they promptly move past. After heading to the Pokemon Center and healing up, Ash decides to challenge the Pewter City gym. So he heads there where he meets Brock. Brock tells him it'll be a challenging battle, which Ash realizes. His only Pokemon he used during this battle will be Dratini, but it's not looking likely he'll be able to clean sweep. Regardless, Ash decides to try it. He sends out Dratini against Brock's Geodude, which he believes should be easy enough. Knowing he needs to preserve stamina, Dratini is ordered to use Dragon Pulse to take down Geodude from afar. A few of the beams hit Geodude as it doesn't possess the necessary speed to dodge them. After picking up on Ash's strategy, Brock orders Geodude to use Dig, which it does, allowing it to hit Dratini. Now in close range it uses Seismic Toss, which allows it to further hurt the tiny dragon. With Dratini on the ground, Geodude lands a tackle attack, which hurts it. Ash calls for extreme speed to get away, but Geodude just uses Dig to catch up, and then goes for another Seismic Toss. While Dratini falls back to the ground, Ash calls for a wrap, leading to Dratini chiding itself around the sentient boulder. Despite its better judgment, Ash calls for a Dragon Pulse, knowing it'll hurt Dratini as well. The attack goes off, knocking Geodude out while putting Dratini on its last legs. Ash wants to give Dratini a rest, so he recalls it, sending out Pidgeotto as Brock sends out his Onix. Obviously, Pidgeotto stands no chance, and both parties know this, but luckily that isn't Ash's strategy here. It's nimble, so it can keep Onix away quite well. So the fight consists of Onix attacking Pidgeotto while it dodges, using Sand Attack to lower its accuracy, while also tiring it out. It's a pretty smart strategy, all things considered. Eventually, Onix would hit, taking Pidgeotto down, but it gives Dratini a fighting chance as it's sent out into battle yet again. Brock knows Ash's Dragon Pulse strategy, so he immediately closes the distance using a Tackle Attack. It misses a direct attack, but its tail collides against Dratini to do some damage. Onix continuously uses Tackle, missing the majority of his attacks thanks to the sand in its eyes, which gives the weakened dragon a chance to land a few blows. While Onix is ordered for Tackle, its head horn clips the sprinklers, indicating to Brock this strategy is futile. Recalling what Ash did to Geodude, Brock orders Onix to use Bind. It wraps around Dratini, beginning to crush it as water falls on both Mons. As Dratini is crushed by the rocks, Ash gets Deja Vu to the Spearow attack. While the odds are stacked against him, he orders for a Thunder Wave. The simple electric attack fuses with the water, causing a big electrical attack that damages both parties a lot. As the light dims down from the attack, both parties' Mons are knocked out. Ash feels beaten up about this as he recalls Dratini, thanking it for giving it its all. He then leaves with Misty by his side, as clearly he wasn't ready. As they leave Pewter, Brock catches up to them and explains how his father returned, allowing Brock to travel with them, which they of course allow. He then gives Ash the Pewter Gym Badge. While Ash is reluctant to take it, Brock informs Ash that in the event of a double knockout, the gym leader gets to declare if the challenger gets the badge. As his last act as a gym leader, he declares Ash the winner. So Ash successfully gets his first official badge. The gang then arrive at Mount Moon. This episode kinda goes the same with Brock capturing Zubat, and the gang helping Seymour and the Clefairy escape Team Rocket. Here though, Ash would have more of a drive to catch a Clefairy. He heard Lance mention that some Clefairies in other regions make Dragon Masters run in terror. Obviously he'll be facing Lance at some point, so he wants to be prepared for that. Of course, Seymour would still object to Ash catching any, so he wouldn't, he'd be respectful. The episode goes the same with the Clefairy having their festival, leading to some of them evolving. Ash would mention that it's still quite unfortunate he can't catch one and would prepare to leave. As he does so, one of the Clefairies would leap in front, wanting to go with him. Chalk it up to him being much more passionate to protect them from Team Rocket due to his nature here. Seymour would allow Ash to take the Clefairy on its own volition, so Ash would battle it. After a quick battle, he throws a Pokeball and captured his third Pokemon. The gang then arrive at Cerulean City. Misty would want to break off to avoid seeing her sisters, but Ash would convince her to stay, trying to help make her more confident. They find out about the break-in and then head to Cerulean Gym, learning of the blood relation they have to Misty, as well as how they're out of usable Pokemon. So Misty agrees to battle Ash for the Gym Badge, using only her water Pokemon. She leads with a Staryu, which Ash combats, sending out Pidgeotto off the bat. Ash knows he doesn't exactly have a good chance in the water, so he tries to get Staryu out of there, using Whirlwind to blow it out the water to land a quick attack. As Staryu falls back into the water, Ash tries to do the same thing, but Misty tells her to go underwater, so the wind simply passes overhead. Staryu then uses Water Gun, doing really good damage to the bird. Due to it being quite wet, its wings struggle to flap, making it fall into the water, which makes Ash forced to recall Pidgeotto. Misty then recalls her Staryu in response. She sends out a Starmie, and Ash sends out Dratini for the deciding battle. It wouldn't take long for Team Rocket to show up though, with a stolen suction device to steal the Pokemon, leading to Misty and Ash having to give up their battle to combat Team Rocket. Naturally, they would win, making Team Rocket blast off again. For saving the gym, Misty's sisters tried to give Ash the Cerulean Badge, but he turns it away, as his friends suspected he would. Ash turns to Misty, telling her that she beat him fair and square. Right now, he doesn't want the badge. He can tell she's going to be a powerful trainer though, so he tells her to get strong and re-challenge him later, so that they can have a real battle. She of course agrees, believing in the power of her water Pokemon. Butterfree then lets itself out of its ball, making Misty agree that she also thinks it's strong. They move along when they hear about AJ's gym. Wanting to test himself, Ash heads there to battle AJ, which AJ swiftly agrees to, sending out Pidgeotto for the type advantage against his Sandshrew. Obviously AJ are prepared for this and come out triumphant with the brief battle they have. Ash would then send out his Clefairy, but it would come out with a similar fate, into Ash only having one Pokemon left to call upon. He sends out his Dratini, which gives Sandshrew a more equal fight. While Ash is able to formulate a decent battle plan against his opponent, Fissure is enough to take him down and give AJ another win. When heading inside the circus, Ash would be even more disgusted at how he treats Pokemon to the point where he tries to get AJ to release them, or else. Before the duo can come to blows though, Team Rocket show up to steal their moms. AJ and Sandshrew are able to combat Team Rocket and save everyone, while defeating the fools in the process. He then realizes Ash is right and releases all his Pokemon beside Sandshrew, starting his gym challenge journey. Along the way, the gang get lost, and ultimately run into Melody and Bulbasaur. Nothing really changes here, with Ash taking Bulbasaur in the end. Then in the next episode, they run into Charmander. Here Ash gets even more offended on Charmander's behalf after learning of Damien's betrayal. He would still want to add the reptilian creature to his team, which he would end up doing by the end of the episode, bringing his team up to 5. After this, the shenanigans with the Circle Squad happens, where they team up with Team Rocket only to turn on them and work together with the gang to defeat Team Rocket. Here though, without Pikachu getting injured, Squirtle will never take a special interest in Ash, and more so in the gang as a whole. So after the Squirtle Squad begin working with Officer Journey, Squirtle would leave to find the gang to join them on their adventure. While Ash does show interest in catching Squirtle, Misty quickly takes initiative in wanting to catch the water type. So Ash would back off. Misty would send out her Butterfree and begins ordering it to attack, using its various powders to try and defeat the turtle. Instead of succumbing to a stun spore though, it quickly hides in its shell, which allows it to avoid the attack. The water gun, Squirtle manages to soak the butterfly's wings, causing it to be unable to fly. Misty recalls it and sends out her Staryu for combat, remarking that she should have known it'd take a water type to defeat a water type. Using Rapid Spin and Tackle in quick succession, Squirtle is discombobulated, leaving it in a dazed state, ready for capture. Misty throws a Pokeball and successfully captures the turtle, celebrating with the Pokeball in hand. As they walk, they end up coming onto a beach where they notice a Krabby walk past. Brock remarks that maybe Ash should catch it, as he'll need 6 Pokemon for the league, but Ash decides to pass it up. There's no point in capturing it for the sake of capturing it. Ash remarks that he wants to see how his mother is, and so they begin looking for a telephone, coming across Bill's lighthouse like normal. After calling his mother, Bill shows Ash a bunch of his Pokemon discoveries and tells him about a mysterious creature that he's been trying to communicate with, so the gang decides to help him. Like normal, the giant Dragonite shows up and Team Rocket causing it to get enraged, where it begins attacking the lighthouse. The gang tried calling out to it to calm down, but it won't listen, wrecking the lighthouse with little remorse. As they begin trying to flee for their lives though, Dratini lets itself out of the Pokeball, feeling a weird connection to the being. While Brock and Misty and Bill don't notice, Ash rushes after its Dratini. It climbs up to the top of the wreckage, laying out the biggest yelps trying to catch its attention, to no avail. Ash climbs up to Dratini's level, realizing quickly what it's trying to do. Instead of grabbing it and running, Ash starts shouting as well, trying to capture the beast's attention. Clearly this isn't working though, so to further increase the noise they can make, Ash sends out the rest of his mons, telling them to chime in. All of them begin shouting, trying to get the Dragonite's attention, but it falls on deaf ears. Even on the ground, Brock, Misty, Bill, and all their Pokemon all try to assist in this effort. Maybe the sound produced isn't enough to break through the clouds, or maybe it simply doesn't care. Either way though, the Dragonite begins to walk away back into the mist. Out of desperation, Dratini's body begins glowing as it elongates. To everyone's surprise, the majestic creature known as Dragonite is born, laying out the loudest cry anyone has ever heard. The Dragonite stops in its tracks and slowly turns around, finally hearing what was said for the being. It turns around, releasing all its rage, as it finally recognizes the beings as not malicious. Bill would befriend the Dragonite and decides to leave with it to go and further his research, learning about Pokemon no one has discovered. As the gang finally arrive at Vermilion City ready to challenge Surge, this is where we'll leave off the part. If you're enjoying this what if, hit the like button, as 500 likes guarantees another part. And why not subscribe while you're here for Pokemon content? And yeah, bye!